I still remember that night like it was etched into my chest. I had just arrived at Lily's family gathering, an intimate dinner at her uncle's sprawling home. And before I even took off my coat, her uncle, a man whose opinions seemed to carry the weight of some ancestral judgment, smirked at me. "So you're the high school grad who snagged Lily, huh? Must have been some charm," he said, voice dripping with mockery. I forced a laugh, my stomach twisting. I wanted to say something sharp, something that would defend the years I spent working my way up, but the words stuck in my throat. Instead, I nodded and muttered, "Yeah, that's me." The rest of the night was a blur of small humiliations, casual remarks disguised as jokes, subtle glances that made me feel smaller than I was. Lily didn't notice, or maybe she did and chose silence. That was the first seed of doubt that lodged itself in my mind, small and insistent. In the weeks that followed, I began noticing things I couldn't explain. Missed calls from her that went unanswered, texts that appeared and vanished before I could read them, the faintest scent of perfume that wasn't hers lingering in the corner of our bedroom. I questioned myself constantly. Maybe I was imagining it, maybe it was paranoia, but the pit in my stomach refused to dissipate. One Friday evening, after another long day pitching deals, I came home to find her on the couch, scrolling through her phone with a sort of distracted intensity. "Busy day?" I asked, trying to keep my tone neutral. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Yeah, just work stuff," she said, tucking the phone away too quickly. That moment, seemingly innocent, now felt like the first crack in our foundation. I tried to push it aside, bury myself in work, reminding myself of all the sacrifices I'd made. Long nights, early mornings, rejections that stung like fire, but they were all building blocks. And I finally landed it. A $7 million deal that could change everything for us. The thrill of success should have drowned out the unease, but instead it sharpened it. Success made me visible, and visibility was dangerous. The next morning, while reviewing contracts, I found it. A message that hadn't been meant for me. Lily's voice, light and intimate, but not in the way it should have been. It wasn't shocking for the content. It was shocking for the realization that I had been blind. Months of small lies, half-truths, excuses, all leading to this undeniable betrayal. My heart pounded. My hand shook. I wanted to confront her, to scream, to demand answers. But I also wanted to vanish in a life I thought I knew. I replayed every memory in my head. The way she laughed at her uncle's jokes while I sat there biting my tongue. The nights she said she was too tired for dinner. The quiet tension that had built between us like steam in a kettle. I remembered the sting of his words that night of the dinner. Just a high school grad. And now I understood the mockery wasn't just about me. It was about the world seeing me as less than worthy, even in my own marriage. The confrontation came quietly, almost anticlimactically. I caught her looking at her phone one night, eyes wide with guilt, caught in the reflection of the kitchen light. "We need to talk," I said, voice calm but low, a contrast to the chaos inside me. She tried to explain, to justify, but every word felt like another chisel against the walls of trust we had built. There were tears, yes, but no absolution, only recognition of the damage, the fragile shards of a life we'd shared that now felt irreparably fractured. In the following days, I wrestled with rage, heartbreak, and disbelief. I wanted her to feel what I felt, the loss, the betrayal, but I also wanted to preserve myself. I leaned into work I loved, the deals I had fought for. When the $7 million deal finally closed, it was a triumph in the boardroom, but at home, I felt the hollow echo of what I had truly gained and what I had lost. I never let her see the full extent of my pain. I carried it silently, a quiet fortification of self-respect. We separated soon after, civilly but irrevocably, each of us grappling with the consequences of choices that couldn't be undone. The deal, the career, the validation of years of effort. They were mine to claim, but the intimacy, the trust, the shared dreams, they were gone. Standing alone in the quiet of our empty home, I realized that betrayal cuts sharper than any defeat in business, but also taught me something vital. Self-respect is built not on the validation of others, nor on their recognition of your worth, but on the unwavering knowledge of your own strength. I still remember the sneer on her uncle's face, but now it only reminds me of how far I've come and how high I can rise, even when others try to diminish me. I closed that $7 million deal, and in that triumph, I reclaimed not just my career, but my dignity. The echoes of betrayal linger, yes, but so does the quiet, unshakable knowledge that I am enough, no matter what anyone else thinks.